Okay, here we
Jesus and love
go.
like him.
But it doesn't stop within the walls of our church. We want to make a real impact in our community and around the world.
We're a church that understands the importance of putting first things first. By putting our relationship with God at the forefront of all we do, we become better equipped to serve those around us.
But we don't walk this journey alone. We believe in the power of going together. We're here to create a space where you can build deep, meaningful connections and experience the power of authentic community.
In our pursuit of being for the one, we recognize the value of each individual. Every person has a unique story. Our aim is to make the unseen feel seen and share
video didn't
Jesus'
play
love
again.
with as many
So
people as
we're
possible.
0 for 3.
It's our hope that you would encounter God in ways you've never imagined, grow in your faith, and most importantly, experience the overwhelming power of
5,
His
4.
love.
We're so
3,
excited you're here.
2,
1,
1.
2,
Coming out to 1.
intro.
Well, good morning,
2,
Rocky. Come on and
3,
stand.
4.
We worship a faithful God this morning.
Super.
A God that loves us, that invites us into His presence. So come on, let's worship Him together.
Verse 1, 3, 4.
I'm calling on the God of Jacob, whose love endures through generations. I know that you will keep your
Verse 2. Drums
covenant.
in.
I'm calling on the God of Moses, the one who opened up the ocean.
Taking 4.
I need you now to do the same thing
3,
for
4.
me. Come on, if you know it, sing it out with us.
Chorus. Breakdown.
Taking 2.
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you
One
now.
Taking 1.
Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness.
Drum.
Dreams.
On your
Turn around.
faithfulness.
Drums in. Verse 3, 3, 4.
I'm calling on the God of Mary,
Are you clear?
whose favor rests upon the lowly.
Taking 2.
I know with you all things are
Verse 4, 3,
possible.
4.
I'm calling on the God of David,
4.
who made a shepherd boy courageous. I may not face Goliath,
Chorus.
but I got my own giants. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your
Chorus.
faithfulness.
3, 4.
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness.
Breakdown.
Stay there, 3.
So pretty.
Bridge
Oh,
1,
we sing.
3,
By 3.
4.
You heard your children.
4, you're clear.
You hear your children now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now.
By 1.
You are the same God.
Bridge 2.
You are the
Drums.
same
in.
God. You were providing then. You are providing. Come on. You are the same.
Stay there, 4.
You move Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you
Go ahead, Mike.
now.
3 slides.
Take it one.
Oh, rock,
Three,
oh,
stay
rock
right there. I
of
like it.
ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness.
Last slide.
On your faithfulness.
Right in.
You are the same God.
Ending. Breakdown. 1, 2,
Stand by 4.
intro. 2.
Remember, he'll
Three,
talk over the bridge
four.
this next time.
We got it. Verse 1,
Sorry, move 1.
3, 4.
And blessed are those who run to him, who place their hope and confidence in Jesus. He won't forsake them. And blessed are those who seek his face, who bend their knees and fix their gaze on Jesus. It won't be
Chorus one.
shaken.
Bass.
And come on and praise the Lord with me, and sing if you love
Stay there.
his
3.
name.
Stand by 4.
And come on and lift your voice with me. He's worthy of our praise.
Vamp.
Stand by 3.
Verse 2.
Take it 3.
And blessed are those who walk with him, whose hearts are set on
Drums in.
pilgrimage with Jesus. They'll see his glory.
Sorry.
And blessed are those who die to live, whose joy it is to give it all for
1.
Jesus
Start your move.
and for his
Tag.
holy.
3, 4.
Oh, Jesus, all for your
Verse 1,
glory.
3,
Come
4.
on and praise the Lord with me, and sing if you love his name. And come on and lift your voice with me, 'cause he's worthy of all our
Chorus
praise.
2, 3,
Come
4.
on and bring your
3
offering,
slides till pocket it.
and sing if you know his grace. And come on and lift up your holy hands, 'cause he's worthy of all
Breakdown.
our praise.
Vamp. 2, 3,
Hey,
4.
in Jesus' most famous teaching, the Sermon on the Mount,
Nice job.
he said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit,
Thank you. That's all the cameras.
those who
and
hunger and
Katie.
thirst for righteousness." If you're
Cameras and
hopeless,
Katie's?
you're
Yeah.
blessed
Oh,
because you
I
get
was
into
talking
my
to
presence. And so if any of that song feels overwhelming for you,
Fine. Then.
That's okay.
don't be afraid.
Too many
Just step in
Katies
his
anyway.
presence because you're welcome.
All the Katies.
So come on, we sing this out together as his children.
Bridge 1,
Bless God.
2, 3, 4.
Bless God in the sanctuary. Bless God in the fields of plenty. Bless God in the darkest valley. Every chance I get, I'll bless your name. Bless God when my hands are empty. Bless God with the praise that cost me. Bless God when nobody's watching. Every chance I get, I'll bless your name. Bless God when the weapons forming. Bless God when the walls are falling. Bless God 'cause he goes before me. Every chance I get, I'll bless your name. Bless God for he holds the victory. Bless God for he's always with me. Bless God for he's always worthy. Every chance I get, I'll bless your name. Oh, every chance I get, I'll bless your name.
You got the stand by 4.
Chorus 1.
Nope, that's not more.
Praise the Lord with
Stand by 4.
me. Sing if you love
1. Thank you for being ready.
2, 3, 4.
Oh, he's putting it down. Yeah.
Oh, he's getting it again.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay. Verse 1, 2, 3,
by one.
4.
There was a moment when the lights went out,
I don't know.
when death had claimed its victory.
He's closer to the mic.
The King of Love had given up his life. The darkest day in history.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
There on a cross they made for sinners.
Stand by 3. 1, start to move him.
For every curse his blood atoned.
Perfect. Stand by 4.
One final breath and it was
Take it, 4.
finished.
When you're clear.
But not the end we could have known.
Pre-chorus.
Stand by 2.
Drum. Softly.
For the earth began to shake. Come on. And the veil was
Stand by 3.
where sacrifice was made. As the heavens roar.
Chorus.
Come on, he's worthy of our
Drums
praise this
in.
morning. And tall hail King Jesus. All hail the Lord of heaven and earth. All hail King Jesus. All hail the Savior of the world. The Savior of the world.
1, start.
Verse
Stay
3.
there.
There was a moment when the sky lit up, a flash of light breaking through. When all was lost, he crossed eternity. Oh, the King of life was on the move. Yes, for in a dark, cold tomb, where our Lord was laid,
Stand by 3.
one miraculous parade, and we forever
Slowly build.
all hail King Jesus, we worship you. All hail
On 3, on the shot. We're just touching.
of heaven
Stand
and
by 2.
earth. All hail King Jesus. All hail the Savior of the world. All hail King Jesus.
I like the variety you got
All
going on.
hail the Lord of heaven and earth. All hail King
Yeah, 4 reset on.
Right, instrumental.
Stay there at 3. Stand by 3.
Bridge.
4, I'm gonna come back to you.
Build.
Back east. Stand by 2.
Thank God, Dad.
Stand by 1. Straight.
Oh, we cry out,
Stand by 3.
with the angels singing,
Drop that way. Breakdown.
holy.
Stand by 4.
Chorus.
Come on, we sing this
Softly.
together. All hail
Stand by 2.
sides.
Jesus.
Keep it slow too. Keep it nice and
Last
slow.
one. Danger be walking up.
Ending. 1, 2,
That's good.
Taking one.
intro, 2,
Man,
3,
nice job,
Man.
Cameron.
4.
Y'all sleep that.
Man, isn't that good today?
So-
It's so good to
This is
worship
Dane,
together.
everybody.
It's so
Yeah,
good to
this
sing to
is
Jesus, to be
Dane
reminded that He
Voorhees.
is our King today.
Frederick
You can go ahead and have a
is
seat.
pastor.
So this past Friday was our Shine Prom event, which is something we look forward to every single year. Yeah, it was incredible. We had an amazing time, and Matt's going to tell you more about it here in a few minutes. But there's something about the event that really stood out to me this year, and it's something that I love that we do every single year, and that is that we crown our guests the kings and queens of the prom. We crown our guests, you know, loving on this community. We put on the Shine Prom event for people in our community with special needs. And so we crown them and honor them as the kings and queens of the prom. And it's this special moment where we count it down, you know, it's like 3, 2, 1, you're the kings and queens. We throw all these, you know, balloons in the air. It's this amazing thing. And it's just so special because you see the joy on every guest's face. You get to experience this joy that you don't see almost anywhere else in that moment. And I was just thinking about it as, you know, kind of looking back, reflecting on it over the weekend, and, you know, thinking about the song that we just sang. And I was like, go with me. What if, you know, the buddies, they're putting the crowns and the tiaras on their guest's head. What if one of the buddies just, like, took the crown and just put it on their own head? It'd be ridiculous. Yeah, you guys are laughing. It'd be ridiculous. If it's like, okay, now crown the kings and queens. They're going, and they just put it on their head. It would be so silly. And we kind of laugh about it because no one would ever do that. And the reality is, thinking about my own life, there are so many times when I do that with Jesus. He is the king. He deserves the crown, and I put it on my own head because I think I know better. I think I know how to go about this situation. I think that I'm the king of my own life, and I can make the best decisions for myself. And you flip those realities, you know, and all of a sudden, that feels pretty heavy. It feels like something that's like, well, that's out of place. At Shy Prom, if you were to do that, it's like, that would be ridiculous. And here, you all of a sudden are like, maybe I do that. Maybe I put Jesus' crown on my own head. And my challenge to myself, my challenge to us today is to put the crown back on Jesus. To make Jesus the king today, the king that he is already. He's the one who died. He's the one who's in the tomb and took on our sin, our shame. He's the one who is alive today. And so, talking to myself and talking to us, as we take communion today, let's put the crown back on Jesus where it belongs. Let's focus our attention back on Jesus today. When you walked in, you grabbed a little cup. It has bread and juice in it. You can go ahead and pull that out. We take communion here every single week to be reminded of the fact that Jesus is King. And so as we take communion today, let's make him our King. As we go throughout the rest of this week, let's make him our King today.
Oh, yay.
When you're ready,
Thank
take
you.
the bread and the juice. Focus your attention on Jesus.
We'll come back to you, one.
He did. Mixing it up. He went so far.
I think he was worried I was going to run him over.
There he goes. He's a walking.
Jesus, we praise you today. God, we thank you that you are our King. God, that we can trust you. God, that today, with everything that, is happening in all
There's
of our
the preacher
lives here
man.
in this room,
Hey, Mr.
God,
Man.
with everything that's happening with all the lives of the people online, God, that you are with us in the middle of it. So, God, I pray that we don't rely on our own strength. God, that we will
we can
give the
practice
crown
later.
back to you because you are our King today. So, Jesus, we love you. It's in your holy and powerful name that we pray. Amen.
Is that my two?
Amen. I want to welcome everybody this morning. If you're new around here, my name is Matt. I'm the lead pastor
Perfect
here at
timing.
Rocky. I want to welcome in our Niwot campus, Fred campus. Good to be with you. And I know we always have guests that are connecting with us online. I've chatted with so many people the last couple of months whose kind of first engagement with us is through a screen. So if that's you this morning, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for giving us 60 minutes of your Sunday
No, you're
morning.
good.
In
I
fact, we
turned
have
down the
something in
worship.
common. I mean, the fact that you're here right now, you believe what I believe,
So then we
that
wouldn't
the
get
Broncos
blasted.
aren't going to win a game all season. So that's good, okay? We already have so much in common. Can't help myself. Okay, so a couple things I want to tell you right
Can you
before
take me out?
we jump into the
Thank
message
you.
this morning. First thing that I just want to celebrate together
It's okay.
as a church,
Breathe.
both campuses, of what we did together on Friday night, hosting a prom for people in our community with special needs. I got some photos up here if you weren't able to be there. But my point of view this year was a little bit different
Oh.
because I had the opportunity
Uh-oh.
to start the night over at the Niwot campus and then end the night here at the Frederick campus. I was so proud of both of our campuses. We probably, had right around 220,
My,
230 guests between
Slides
both of our
might be a
campuses.
little slow.
So many of you
Uh-oh.
jumped in, and
Uh-huh.
I mean the energy and the joy at both of our campuses was just awesome.
Ha, ha,
I
ha,
cry
ha, ha.
every year. I sneak out several times to a dark room to cry a little bit, and then to come back out because there's always something about that night that I just go, heaven has to be something like this. When a church comes together, when a community comes together to serve and to love on people, I'm telling you, God's in the midst of all that. So both campuses, can we just clap for that? Because that was so great. Loved every second of that. So proud of our church. Now, second thing is this. Next week, parents in the room, make some noise. Where are you? Parents in the room?
Yeehaw. Just kidding.
Yeah. You have a little more energy because your kids are back in school.
Okay.
But hey, here's the deal. Next week, we're starting a brand new
Trying to tell
teaching
us
series
something? Nope.
entitled Parenting is Easy, which nobody has ever said in the history of the world. But we're going to take a couple of weeks and
Nope.
talk about parenting. And here's our goal, that you know this, parents, you know this, that parenting is complex. There's a lot of things going on, especially in today's world, in today's culture. And so we want to be a church that takes a couple weeks to try to simplify some of the complexity. And we're going to be very, obviously we're going to get into the Word, and this is going to be a spiritual conversation. It's also going to be a very practical conversation. And so I hope that you will be here for this series. And some of you right now are thinking, because you don't have kids, you're going, I'm not coming to church, for the next month. Don't do it, okay? Show up to church, because here's the deal. In the midst of this conversation, there's going to be application for all of us, not just for those of us who have little ones. Also, this is a great series. We're going to talk about the power of invitation today. But this is a series that if you've got some friends that have kiddos, this is a series to invite your friends and family, your neighbors, coworkers. This is going to be just such a great series to invite them, because none of us in the context of parenting are like, we have figured it all out, killing it. And okay, all of us have good days. All of us have bad days. And we know that loving and raising these little ones, it can be stressful. So anyways,
Stand by
brand new series
one.
next week. I hope you'll be here for that. And today we're finishing up our series entitled Relational Poverty. We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. Our campus pastors
On your
taught
left.
last week. 2 weeks ago, we had Ben Foot up here teaching, talking about this idea that when it comes to our relationships,
I
most
was
of
sick
us,
that weekend.
a lot of us, I mean, at least what the studies are showing us, that when it comes to our community or depth of relationships with people, we are poor.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of times when we hear the word poverty, we strictly think about
No, I wasn't here that
the
weekend.
number
That would be
of
stressful.
the dollars
though.
we have in the bank, or the house you live in, or the car
Right.
you drive. You think about primarily
Yeah.
what you don't have. There's things that you wish you did have. And so there's, we kind of have this poverty line in every culture. But we thought it would be wise to take a couple weeks to talk about poverty in the context of relationship, because what the numbers all say is that most of us are poor. which is very interesting because, we have so many, kind of gizmos and gadgets that are supposed to be helping us, be the most connected people potentially in the history of the world. And yet Gen Z right now has been labeled the loneliest generation that's ever existed. And we thought it would be wise as a church to go, hey, we should talk about that. And if you're here this morning, if you're watching and you're not a Christian, I think you could own this. Like, we have something in common. There's something we have in common, whether you're Christian or not, in the context of relational poverty, that you just know. Okay, we just know there's something inside of all of us that desperately desires to be known. To be known. Which is why as a church, we say all the time, you need to put yourself in situations where you allow yourself to be known and you get to know other people. That is how God has designed this thing. He's designed a local church to function in the context of community. And so many of us, we cheat it. We just take bits and pieces of it, but what you'll find is eventually down the road that you potentially will have fallen into a trap, and when you need the depth of community the most, unfortunately, you did not choose the correct path of relationship. So that's why we've been talking about the last couple weeks. Now, here's the thing, okay, because I just believe this. Again, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not this morning. There are so many people in our world who are lonely, who are relationally poor. And what's so interesting is that the church, and this is why we've been talking about this, the church, this groundswell, this movement, its form and function is through the context of community. And you would think that if a world, that's filled with people who don't know God, who are desperately, wanting to be known, don't you think that more people who don't know God, so unchurched people, would be coming to church? And so this week, I'm just thinking out loud again, how come more unchurched people don't come to Rocky? There are people who don't know God who come, but if you just look around, now our campus, look around, Fred, look around, we've got some empty seats this morning. If there's a world that's so desperately, in need to be known, if they're relationally poor, then how come they're not showing up to check out a movement that is supposed to be known by its community? To offer you an environment where you can be known and get to know other people. In my lifetime, I'm 40 years old, so in my lifetime it's been interesting to kind of watch church, not just this church, but all the churches and just kind of churches I've known and been around. It's interesting because every church is engaged in this conversation about how do we engage with people who don't know God. When I was growing up in church, our evangelism strategy, it was very like, memorize, half the Bible and then go knock on doors, okay? Go knock on doors. And I always thought that was weird and creepy. You get it. Like, you've had people knock on your door and you answer it, and then, they're like, do you know where you're going to go if you die? And you're like, homie, this is weird, okay? I don't want to talk to you about this. And when I have people who knock on my door who have that approach, even here in Colorado, which most of you doesn't happen because most of you have no soliciting on your doors, okay? But, in the rare occurrence that you've got someone knocking your door and it's a kind of, they want to engage in religious conversation, I always engage with them. And one of the things I ask is, does this work? Does this work? Do you really have people from knocking on doors that are like, dude, I'll go to your church, and, they never quite answer it? I'm like, yeah, because it's weird, okay? This is just weird. This doesn't fit in our culture anymore. We don't even want you to knock on our door. We don't salesmen knock on our door. And so anyways, that was kind of the strategy, for years and years and years when I was growing up. And
a
then
little bit,
right
but
around, the mid-2000s, there were some church leaders that started to begin to think, you know what? We should create an environment that would be
that a little bit
welcoming
during
to guests.
first service too.
We should create an environment where people who don't know God could show up and stylistically and just from our buildings and parking lot, we should be thinking about our guests. You know what? We should really strive for excellence, and we should have a great band, and we should have great teaching. And so all of a sudden it's like cool church. That cool church is coming in. Everybody's trying to be cool, and people who grew up who again don't know God, they had an idea of what church was, and all of a sudden all these new environments and all these people are kind of flooding into church, cool church. And hear me out, I believe in excellence. Our band was rocking this morning. That takes preparation. You're getting the best teaching this morning. That takes preparation. So, I totally get it. We want, excellence around here. And yet here's what you'll find, like when you look at the studies nowadays, that approach, just, engaging environments or cool environments isn't quite that cool anymore. All the numbers, all the studies show that, it was cool when it wasn't cool, but now there's so much cool in the context of church that you're not really wowing, a lot of people who have never been to church before. What's so interesting is that the one thing that hasn't changed from generation to generation, even culture to culture, is the need for community. And the church is kind of coming back and engaging with conversation, and it's needed, again, because of the culture in which we live, because Gen Z, okay, look at this. Gen Z, again, loneliest generation in the history of the world. Here's what they're saying. They're not looking for cool. Here's what they're looking for. They're looking for hope over hype.
Yeah, I
They're
think it
looking
was
for
just
hope.
the Shine Prom ones.
They
Might have
want to
just been
know if
too
they're going to
big or
engage with
something,
the
I
local
don't know.
church, that they're going to get some
Stressed me
hope,
out a
that
little
it's going to
bit.
be helpful. They're looking for hope. Not just looking for hope, they're looking for real. They want something real. They want real over rehearsed. And then you could kind of sum it up, with this word. Ben talked about this 2 weeks ago, this idea of authentic community, but they're looking for authenticity. They're looking for authenticity over performance. They are so sensitive to anything that is fake. They want it to be real. They want it to be hopeful. And when they show up, they're going to start looking around and going, is this the real deal or not? Because most of their experience would fall into the trap of, it wasn't that real. It was kind of fake. And when life hit and I was looking for something, real, I couldn't find it. And the church has an opportunity. I think we have an opportunity now to re-engage and go, man, we've been called to be for one another, to serve one another, to love one another, forgive one another. And when we do, we can be the kind of community that the world is desperately looking for. Because in an age of isolation, which is what this generation is kind of being labeled a little bit, in an age of isolation, community is king. Community is king. That authentic community, okay? Authentic community is now the new cool. This is the filter. Cool church is now a church.
I was worried he wasn't going to go that way and he was going to say something else.
To be for one another, to love one another, to not cheat community, but to engage. And here's what all the numbers say. We're going to talk about the numbers here in just a second. But all the numbers are saying that the world is ready to engage. Unchurched people are ready to engage in a real and authentic community. But they probably aren't going to show up. If, and here's the big if, and this is what I want to talk about this morning, if you don't invite them. If you don't invite them, but I'm telling you, if there was ever kind of like
Me and Matt are
a
in
little
sync
piece of
right
history
now.
where the invitation would be so powerful, it is now. That the church has been positioned in a situation in the context of our culture where relational poverty is rampant, and we're going, no, not so with us. We are real, we're authentic, we're not perfect, we're striving to be the church, we're striving to be the community that God has called us to be. And when we do, the world is ready to go. I might be interested in that, but they aren't going to show up without an invitation. And I've been thinking about the power of invitation even over the last couple of weeks and months. My family and I, we've been on vacation for the last couple of weeks. We were in Hawaii, which was awesome. But Amanda Rorabaugh and her husband, Dee, Amanda's our executive pastor here at Rocky, does a great job. Her and Dee invited us. This is, the invitation. They invited us to Hawaii a couple years ago, and we said no. We said no, thank you, which is kind of wild because I've been to Hawaii now, and I'm looking back going, why in the world would I ever say no? But we said no. We had a bunch of excuses. It's expensive. It's a lot of time away. We have 1 million kids at home. What are we going to do with them? Okay, so we had all these things, and we just said no. And so they said, okay. And then the next year would come around. They invited us again. They said, hey, would you guys like to come to Hawaii? And we said, no, we don't want to go to Hawaii because, it's expensive, God, we have so many kids, and all that. So anyways, at the beginning of this year, they approached us again, and they said, hey, we're going to keep asking, and so we want to invite you guys to come to Hawaii. And we decided this year, okay, we're going to go. And when we went, we started seeing things like this on the island. Is that nice or what? That's way better than here today, isn't it? I mean, this is This is so nice, and we didn't know because we never been, we went to the island of Kauai. We never been there, and my wife's a photographer, and so, she was all over that island taking pictures of sunsets and sunrises, and we quickly realized, oh my gosh, this place is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The people are so friendly. The beaches are so nice, but we didn't know on that other side of invitation, but once we said yes, we got to go and experience this, and if you would like this picture, you can buy it. You can buy it from us because we're trying to figure out how to get back to Kauai as soon as we can, all right? So this is like, the Send the Codys Back to Kauai Mission Fund, all right? So anyways, if you go, you can see things like this, and I'm telling you, it was so beautiful, and the only reason that we were able to see that because we were invited. We didn't know what we didn't know. And then, in the middle of vacation, Dean and Amanda, they've been there so many times that they developed relationships with people who live on the island, and they knew this one girl, Crystal, who was a waitress down at a restaurant there in Hanalei Bay, and so unexpectedly she was working, and Crystal invited Dean and Amanda to go, and it was karaoke night, and so we were supposed to have dinner at the house, but Dean and Amanda said, hey, we're going to go, and we're going to do karaoke. Don't feel like you have to come, but you're invited. If you want to come, you can come down and do karaoke night and meet our friend. And now, here's the deal. I do not do karaoke, okay? And if if we're in Colorado and you ever approach me and you're like, hey, would you like to come do karaoke? You're invited. My answer is no. No, never doing it. Keep inviting, but I'm never doing it. But I'm in Hawaii, And it's kind of, it's vacation and, what else am I going to do? So it's like, yeah, let's go. So we go to karaoke. I've only been in a karaoke environment maybe once or twice my whole life, all right? Not my jam, but I go, and it just so happens this karaoke night is filled with the best singers in the world. It is filled, people are getting up there. Dee's getting up there. He's like a country superstar. He's singing songs I never heard of before. But anyways, they're just into it. We got like a Frank Sinatra guy. He's into it. We got, some ladies up there doing like Disney themes. They're into it. These are the best singers. And as I just keep seeing the best singer after the best singer, I become a little bit more uncomfortable. Because in the midst of all these amazing singers, Amanda and Dee, and all these people are looking at me going, you should go sing. You should go sing. And I was like, you shut up, okay? Like, I'm not, no, thanks for the invitation, and here's what I said in the middle of karaoke. I feel very welcome here, but I don't feel like I belong here. Because all these people can sing. This is like, superstar karaoke. And if I get up there, it's not going to go well. And I'm not quite sure how, this room's going to respond. And so, no. And I was just, I was in the fetal position, like, get me out of here. And so, kind of like halfway through karaoke, this guy goes up. Okay, this guy goes up, and he starts singing this song. And this brother cannot sing, okay? I know off the rip I can sing better than him. So he gets up there, and all of a sudden I'm now engaged because I begin to think, how's this room going to respond to him? Because I don't think I belong here because I can't sing, but he can't sing either. So let's see what they do with him. Now, he was smart enough. He's done a bunch of karaoke that he picked a song that clearly other people knew, because as he's butchering the verse, he gets to the chorus, and that whole room loses their mind. And I just start laughing like, of course this is it. And all of a sudden, feeling very welcome and invited to not belong, until all of a sudden I felt like, oh, maybe I could belong here. Now, I didn't sing that night, but I'd like to sing right now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Okay, now, I did this first service, and they did a great job, but I want to sing the song that brother sang on stage that night. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sing the verse, okay? You're going to listen to me butcher it a little bit. Then you're going to jump in with me on the chorus. And if you leave me hanging, okay, I am moving to Kauai. I'm just telling you right now. You better sing loud. They took first service like half a minute to, to really jump in. You better jump in and not leave me hanging. Niwot campus, you do the same thing. If you're at home, just sing loud. Okay, so we all on the same page. I just want to experience, because I didn't sing, what it would be like. And you're my friends, and you're my church, so you got my back and I got yours. And if you leave me hanging, shame on you. Okay, so here we go. Okay, I'm going to do the verse, and then eventually you jump in with the chorus. This is karaoke at church. All right, here we go. I thought just having a friend could be no crime, cause I have friends, and that's a fact, like Agnes, Agatha, Jermaine, and Jack. Forget about that. Let's go into the story about a girl named blah, blah, blah that adored me. So we started talking, getting familiar, spending a lot of time so we can build a relationship or some understanding. How's it gonna be in the future? We was planning. Everything sounded so dandy and sweet. I had no idea I was in for a treat. After this was established, everything was cool. The tour was over and she went back to school. I called every day to see how she was doing. Every time that I called her, it seemed
45.
something was brewing. I called her room, a guy picked up, but then I called again and I said, yo, who was that? Oh, he's just a friend. Don't give me that. Don't even give me that. Just bust us. Come on. Come on. You got what
30 seconds.
Yeah, you've been to karaoke. But you say he's just a friend. But you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you.
20.
You got what I need. But you say he's just a
15.
friend. But you say he's just... Come on, Nyla. Here we go. Baby, you.
10.
You got what I
8,
need.
7, 6,
But you
5,
say he's just
4,
a friend.
3,
But you
2,
say he's just
1.
a friend. Yes.
Stand by one.
Yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Back
that's
to
way
one.
more exciting than watching the Broncos game. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. The power of invitation. Now let me just say this, okay? And I'm not, Jesus juking anybody, but I'm just telling you. I actually said this when I was in Kauai when we were driving back to
Yeah,
the
he's
house after
sending
karaoke.
requests
Here's what I said to
because
the
I'm
car.
getting all sorts
You know
of
what?
emails now.
I was reminded of something, like being in an environment that I'm not usually in, because I don't get invited to a lot of karaoke, but I went. And when I went, I just felt uncomfortable and I felt like I didn't belong because I can't sing. And I thought, I just thought, to be in that kind of community, you had to know how to sing. But clearly you don't. I didn't know that because I haven't been to a lot of karaoke. And then here's what I said in my car. I wonder what it's like to have never been to church your whole life, but to be invited. You know none of the songs. You've never heard any of the lyrics. You don't know potentially anybody else who's in the room. You don't know much about God or even the Bible. And I wonder how many unchurched folks who show up are thinking, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I believe what they believe. I don't know if I can kind of perform how they perform. And I wonder how many people walk away, unfortunately, who go, I don't know if that community's for me. The challenge for every local church right now is to not just to be a form of community, a perversion of community where we cheat community. No. This is the time where we choose to be real. And here's why. I'm just telling you, everything is lining up. And here's why, okay? Here's some stats for you. 8 out of 10. Think about this. Let this sink in for a sec. 8 out of 10 people will say yes to a personal invite to church. That's the world you live in right now. Your neighbors, your coworkers, your grandma who hates God. 8 out of 10, okay? This is a survey that was done in the last 2 years. 8 out of 10 people in our country who you know say, I would go to church if I got invited. Now, look at the story the numbers show. Here's the second stat, okay? 7 out of 10 unchurched people have never been invited to church. They've never been invited. The reason why, I'm not going to karaoke, because nobody invited me. And the reason why so many people in your world who don't know God, the reason why they haven't come to church is because they've not been invited. And then here's the third stat. This is the one we just have to own as a church this morning, that we got to change. Rocky, we can change this. If we behave differently, we can change this. But look at this stat. Only 2% of church members have invited an unchurched person to church. Only 2%. That's a national survey. That's the churches in America. Only 2% of people who are attending church this morning have actually invited somebody who doesn't know God to church. We should change that. We should change that. We have a community that's going, if you would invite us, we would show up. But here's the things, friends. They don't know they're invited. God invited them a long time ago, but they don't know it. And if nobody invites them, odds are, the numbers are that your friends and family and coworkers and neighbors who don't know God are never coming to this church. I think they should. Jesus gives us, the most simple, invitation. How do we invite people to church? Jesus, he laid it out for us, and he said, hey, this is how you do it. The disciples followed it, and I want to give it to you so that we can be a church that is way higher than 2% of our church, inviting people to come and to see what God is all about. So if you have your Bibles, John chapter 1, starting in verse 35, just real quickly, I want you to see this story, how simple invitations lead to so many amazing things. So here's what it says. Jesus is recruiting his disciples. John chapter 1 says this. The next day, this is John the Baptist. John the Baptist was there again with two of his disciples when John saw Jesus passing by. And he said, because he's got a couple of his guys with him, he said, look, the Lamb of God, when the two disciples heard him say this, they followed Jesus. John the Baptist, he was preparing the way for Jesus. He sees Jesus, and he says to his guys, look, that's the guy we've been waiting for. That's the Christ. That's the Son of God. That's the Messiah. And his disciples take note of that, and they just start following Jesus. Okay, now look at what Jesus says in verse 38. It says this, turning around, Jesus saw them. Of course he did. He saw them following, and Jesus asked them, what do you want? Now, we don't know the tone of this, like, hey, what do you want? Or what do you want? Okay, we don't know. But he just says to them, what do you guys want? Why are you following me? And they said, Rabbi, which means teacher, where are you staying? Where are you going? What are you up to today? What are you all about? We've been hanging out with John for a couple years, and we've been his disciple, but he's been telling us about you, and so we're curious about you. And look, Jesus, look at the invitation. So simple, okay? You can remember this. Verse 39. So Jesus said to him, well, just come, and you will see. Just come and see. Where are you going? Just come and see. What are you all about? Just come and see. Hey, John thinks you're the Christ. Are you? Just come and see. You should just come and see. Jesus has nothing to hide, and so they went. And guess what? They saw. They went, and they saw where he was staying, and they spent that day with him, and it was about 4 in the afternoon.
Jen, do you
Spent
have
the whole
an
day with
iPhone?
him.
Or
Yep.
Apple?
One of the first invitations. Jesus
What's
goes,
your
"Just come
number?"
and see."
701
You want to follow me? Yeah, just come and see.
390
See if it's real. See if you like what you hear.
4200.
See what I'm all about, but just come and see. It keeps going. Verse 40. Then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of the two
There you
who
go.
heard what John had said and who had followed Jesus. So this guy was one of the two disciples that was with John the Baptist, who went and saw. And after he saw, guess what he did? Verse 40. The first thing, after hanging out with Jesus for the day, the first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him. Of course he did. He just spent the afternoon with Jesus. Of course he's going to tell somebody, because this is going to be life-changing. This is going to change the whole world. So of course he's going to go tell somebody. So he goes and he tells them, and look what he says. We have found the Messiah. That is the Christ. And he brought him to Jesus. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? He's got to tell somebody. The news is too good to keep for himself. Now look at verse 43.
You're
all in
welcome.
the same chapter, all of these invitations. Then verse 43, the next day, Jesus decided to leave for Galilee, and finding Philip, he said to him, follow me. Philip jumps in. And Philip, like Andrew and Peter, was from the town of Bethsaida. Another hometown guy, probably knows these other disciples. Jesus, he's heard some of the stories already. Jesus says, hey, man, I want you to come follow me. And then look what Philip did. Philip found Nathanael. I'm going to call him Nate. Of course he found Nate. It's one of his best friends. So Philip found Nate, and he told him. What did he tell him? We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and about whom the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Philip follows Jesus. Then Philip goes and tells his boy Nate, hey, you should come as well. You should come and see. I'm telling you, he's the Christ. He's coming out of Nazareth. And here's what happens sometimes with invitations. You offer invitations, and people begin to push back. people begin to have excuses. People begin to question. It's been going on for thousands of years. Look at verse 46. Nate replies to his bro, Phil, who invited him. He goes, Nazareth? Can anything good come from there? I mean, Nazareth was nowhere. It was nothing. I mean, it's really even mentioned in the scriptures. It would be like if I got, in front of you guys this morning and I'm like, guys, I found him. I found the Christ. I'm telling you, Jesus is here and he's living in Dacono. He's in Dacono. Now what? You don't even know where Dacono is, okay? You're just like, he's in Dacono. You'd be like, what? All you Firestone people are like, Dacono? What? I can say that because I live in Dacono, okay? I live in the 80514, okay? I'm over there. We apparently are a city. We look more like a town, but I'm just telling you, you would go, Dacono? Really? That's where Jesus is coming out of? I didn't see that one coming. It doesn't even really make sense, okay? Here's the pushback. Here's the excuse. I don't know if I want to go listen and follow that guy. And Phil takes a page right out of the book from Jesus. Doesn't engage in an argument. Doesn't go, what? I thought you loved God and you've been waiting. I can't believe you wouldn't just. You know what Phil says? You should come and see. Pretty simple. You should just come and see. I can't answer all your questions. I don't know how it all works. I'm just telling you, I met a guy who claims to be the Son of God, and I think he's the one we've been waiting for. And he came out of Nazareth. What? I didn't get to make up the story. It's just a story. Nate, you should come and see. You should come and see. And Nate does. And he shows up, and wouldn't you know, he has a conversation with Jesus. And you want to know what the outcome was? Verse 49. Here's the outcome. Then Nate declared, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. And this brother starts following the Christ out of Nazareth. He just needed to be invited to go and see. Here's what I've been reminded of this week. Simple invitations. Simple invitations lead to significant conversations. You don't need to have half the Bible memorized. You don't need to know, every question when it comes to religion or God, because I don't know the answers to all those questions either. But I do know this, that Jesus has changed my life, and he can change yours. You should come and see. You should come and see. I can't explain it all, but you should come and see. I think, I'm just telling you, we live in a day and age where we live in communities that if they would be invited, the numbers say they would come and see. Which means, Rocky, come on, we should invite people. We should invite people to come to Rocky. We should invite them. 8 out of 10 have never been invited. 7 out of 10 say they would come. If somebody would just invite them to come and see. They don't know they're welcome here. They don't think they belong here. But you know what? You should just come and see. And hopefully what you experience is a very real, authentic community that is going to welcome you and love you and serve you. And you should bring all your doubt and all your questions, but you should just come and see. And so here's a phrase that, I've talked about this before, but here's a phrase that I think would work better now than ever before in the history of the church, and here it is, okay? Here's a phrase. You should come sit with me at my church. You should just come sit with me at my church. You should come sit with me at my church. Just come sit with me at my church. And here's the elevator pitch, okay? If you invite, I'm telling you they will come. But here's the elevator pitch. Before you say this, you can develop commonality with anybody who doesn't know God. Very simply. I'm telling you, we have more in common than you think. If you're here this morning and you still aren't sure about God, I'm telling you, we have more in common than you think. Because there was a day when I didn't know God either. And there was questions that you're asking now that I've been asking, for a long time. Here's the elevator pitch. Number one, life is tough. You do community, you build relationship, you hang out with your coworker, you talk to your neighbor. Eventually the conversation will go to this. Life is tough. We all have that in common. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. How was your week? Busy. Man, life is tough, isn't it? Parents, life is tough. Middle schoolers, high schoolers, come on. Life is tough. Old people. I mean, you woke up and your body hurt. You didn't even know why. Life is tough. It's not fair. Doesn't always go the way that you want it to. Work is tough. Parenting is tough. Paying the bills can be tough. Life is tough, isn't it? And here's what most of us have in common. We want to get it right, though. We want to get it right. It doesn't matter if you know God or not. You want to get it right. You want to make the money. You want to enjoy your work. You want to be a good dad. You want to be a good mom. Life is tough, isn't it? Yeah, life is tough. You know, what I find is I want to get it right. In the midst of life being difficult, I want to get it right. And unchurched people will go, me too. Yeah, we have that in common. You know what? You know what I've learned in my life, and I'm a Christian? Life is tough. And, you know, you want to get it right. Here's number 3. You know what I love about church? It helps. It helps. What conversation has Jesus not engaged in with you that hasn't helped? Of course it helps. Jesus helps. The church helps. Hey, life is tough. Oh, life is so tough. Yeah, I totally get it, man. Parenting and marriage and, you know, paying the bill is so tough, so tough. I don't know about you, but I want to get it right. Yeah, I want to get it right too. You know what I found in my life? I've had so many questions, so many doubts, so many concerns, but I've loved just, you know, being part of a church because I find the church helps. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? You should come sit with me at my church. Oh, I don't, you know, church. I hear you. But I'm telling you, our church, it doesn't even have snakes. You know, there's no snakes at our church. Last week, our pastor was up there singing karaoke. You ever been to karaoke? Oh, man, it's so great. Come on. Yeah, I get it. But you should just come and see. I've been in church. I just feel like church is hypocritical and it's judgmental. I hear you. You might even be right. You should come and see. You should come and see. You should just come and see. And if you come and see, you should sit with me in my church. The world is waiting for an invitation. Here's what I love about Jesus. If you're here this morning and you're not a Christian, this is the beautiful thing about our faith. 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to be with us. He lived with us.
Yay! We
died
survived.
for us. And he comes back from the dead.
With
And he
karaoke in the
launches
middle.
Through the groundswell of the local.
Slay.
Don't miss
Slay.
it. He invited everybody.
I'm so thirsty.
to be a
I
part
should have
of
brought water. I'm dying.
I'm
all your mistakes. He invites you. Even when you don't feel like you belong, you're invited. Because Jesus says you belong. And if we could be a church, I'm telling you, if we could be a church that would be as authentic, as real as we can, if we could be for one another, the way the early church was for one another a couple thousand years ago, and offer an invitation that the world is waiting for, these seats this morning would not be empty. And people would discover what all of us have discovered. That when you meet Jesus, it'll change your life. And people who have experienced that will go and tell, will go and share, will go and invite. You gotta come and see. You gotta come and see this guy who I talked to. God. My life has never been the same. And he can do the same thing for you. You should come and see. Let's be a church. Let's be a church that invites everybody to come and see. Let me pray for you. Father, this morning we thank you that somewhere along the way, somebody invited us because we didn't know. We didn't know. We were lost. We had doubt. We had questions. And somebody invited. And we heard and we saw and things that we couldn't forget. And there was a day that we believed that you are who you say you are. And I pray that we would be a church this morning who invites not just some people, but all people to come in here, to come and see, to come in and experience something that we know that has the power to change their life. That we'll do our best to answer the questions, but to know that we don't know it all. And we don't understand why things happen or don't happen in people's lives. But we know this, that when people get close to you, they're able to experience your love and grace
Hands are so
and
cold.
forgiveness in all of its fullness. So help us to be a community this week, this month, this year that welcomes and invites everybody to come in here and to come and see, to come and meet the Son of God who saved us and has the power to save anybody who would believe in who you are. Help us to be that church. Help us to be mindful of our invitations this week, knowing that people are just waiting to be invited. We love you. And we thank you for Jesus. And it's in his name we pray. The church said, amen. Okay, church, next week we're talking about parenting. Go invite some folks. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Advancing.
We did it. Nice job, everyone.
Yay! Happy Sunday.
See you next time.
Have a good
Great work,
week.
everybody.
Stand by for your text message from Sean.
Holy cannoli. Why did I get 2 different emails?